Welcome to a new episode of Tradomics. My name is Dario, and in this video, we're gonna analyze the China A50 index, as usual by using our T-cycle analysis, a methodology that is based on cycles and is able to predict the future direction of the prices on a statistical mathematical way, thanks to the total duration of the downward and upward cycles, but you can always watch in our menu on the right hand side for each of the analyses that we issue. So regarding the China A50 index, let's start a little bit from this low occurred on the 31st of October 2022. And by looking backward, what has happened, we're going to give our mathematical and statistical forecast regarding what is going to happen to the price in the next weeks and also months, because actually the market allows us to better understand the predictions, not in this case just over the short term but also on the midterm. So at this low occurred on the 31st of October 2022, we have had an yearly downward cycle of this shape that has been negative. That was divided in the first downward T plus 4 6 months cycle and the second downward T plus 4 cycles. The first one has been positive because the low in which it ended up was higher compared to the lower from which it started, and the second one was negative because the low in which it ended was lower compared to the low from which it started. And if we gauge the total duration, we can see that we have had 150 days for the first T plus 4, according to our duration, which is between 94 and 168 days, considering a T plus 4 and not a T plus 4 hybrid, which are definitely seldom cycles that can happen. And the second T plus 4 has had a total duration of 163 days. The total duration of this yearly downward cycle has been of 315 days. So according to mostly the maximum duration of a T plus 5. Now, if we look also to the upward cycle that we always have to implement in our analysis, we see the following. So from this top occurred on the 27th of January 2023, we have had a first upward T plus 4 or 6 months cycle like this that has been negative because the top from which in which it ended was lower compared to the top from which it started, and the upward cycle are always compare top with other tops of a total duration of 132 days. Then subsequently we have had a new T plus 4 cycle and a third T plus 4 cycle. In this case has been positive. Now if we gauge the total duration of this yearly T plus 5 cycle, we end up with a total duration of 338 days. 338 days is the maximum duration of a T plus 5. So basically, the first question that is going to answer the question of the title is, we don't have extra time, or we don't have standard time to proceed with the rally because the time is run out. We might have an extension here, a Bayer tongue that can allow the price to keep climbing or to keep the rally in place. But if we don't have a Bayer tongue, and here with this downtrend, we have already broke up this first swing and the second swing, what we can expect in the next weeks is to further proceed with the downtrend. So in other words, if now we we will have the evidence also by time, we have the evidence by swing that a potential new T plus 5 is taking place, because after a yearly upward T plus 5, another one is starting, then we cannot go back to this top at least for 3 months. Because in order to generate a T plus 5, we need at least a T plus 3 duration, so between 48 and 89 days, lower to the top from which the upward cycle has started. Therefore, we might expect downward trend for the next month at least. And 48 days, which is the minimum required, will basically trigger the price to the downside, or at least not going back to the top for 48 days, so until the 24th of July. So until the 24th of July, in the best case scenario, we cannot go back to the top if here we're going to have a T plus 5. But given that we have already broken up this low and this low, here we have already some evidence that something new is starting. Therefore, the pressure to the downside will be higher compared to the pressure to the upside. So this is something that we have to keep in mind if we want to manage our position, or if we want to invest also in the Chinese index. Now, with another insight, and then I close the analysis. Here we have to look at the downward cycles. So the first downward cycle from this new T plus 5 has been a T plus 3. So 3 months duration. And with this 3 months duration, we have had a total of 62 days. Now a new T plus 3, the second T plus 3 has been was born from this law, occurred on the 12th of April. And here we have the potential end of a T plus 1 and a T plus 2 with a further T plus 1 or a T plus 2, which is already negative. If from here we have a T plus 2, then we have to expect further downtrend for at least 24 days. So this downtrend can continue until the 17th of June 2024, if not beyond, before having a bounce back to the upside. Because in this case, what might happen is a first T plus 2, then a second T plus 2, and then back down. So this will allow to close a T plus 3, and the T plus 3 will allow to close also a T plus 4. And in this case, we're going to have also time from here to develop a new T plus 5. So this is the Matryoshka effect that is embedded in the cycle analysis. So be careful now for the following days and weeks regarding long positions, because we have already some evidence that from here we're going to have a T plus 4 or a T plus 5. Therefore, the downward on the downside trend will be predominant. And if here we have the T plus 2, then we cannot have a consistent bounce before the 17th of June in the best case scenario. But in the worst case scenario, we can have also much push to the downside until 44 days. This will be the worst case scenario. So that will be until 16th of July 2024. So an additional month. Of course, regarding the target, this is the moving average 200 period. So here we might have the possibility to go further down of a 3% to touch the moving average 200 period. But looking at the targets, as usual, we can use a Fibonacci retracement. So you can have the first level that has been reached at 12,369, and then 12,039, and then 11,772. So this is all. So thanks for watching, and if you want to see all the other analysis, click on the bell to subscribe to our channel so you will be always aware about the latest analysis that we will be issuing along the next months. Thanks for watching, and see you to the next episode.